AVAX has seen some phenomenal growth over the last few weeks, and it does show a little bit of cooling off at the moment. In today's video, guys, we are jumping into the technical analysis on Avalanche's AVAX, sharing my thoughts and opinions on where I think AVAX is heading next. Guys, let's roll the intro and get right down into it. Okay guys, welcome back to another video update. Today guys, we are taking a look at AVAX paired up with USDT. We're on the daily Binance chart here. We're taking a big macro view for AVAX, just share my thoughts and opinions on where I think things are heading here. Now, we have seen an interesting kind of run to the upside, right? So this actually looks really nice up until the point where you realize it doesn't have a great structure to it. And so this is either going to be an overextended fifth wave or is just a corrective pattern. And that becomes a little bit problematic, but nonetheless, we can see here this great kind of V-shaped bottom. This shows us with a potential for Avalanche to have really rocketed out of this area of previous kind of resistance. There was a couple of areas of consolidation, which I'm going to show you guys. And this is going to be an interesting thing to keep an eye on because this is going to be a real interesting range for AVAX, I think, in the future as well, right? So as you can kind of see here, I'm going to draw this on. This was a previous area of support that became resistance, 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 resistance. And then we kind of broke through it, turned it into a bit of support, and then we've launched from here, okay? So this particular range is actually a really interesting range for AVAX. There's lots of history all around this price range, between $18.69 and $22.79, okay? So let's go ahead and take a look. What's gone on with AVAX since we kind of cooled off here? Well, we had this bit of a move to the upside, but we're really struggling to kind of continue the run to the upside. We found additional resistance right in here. I'm going to go ahead and draw this on right in this little range just across here, right? So this range coming in at $42.23 to $49.96. We kind of rallied up to the high, and then we found this area being tested once and twice, and it has rejected on both occasions. This is an area then that we have to be quite cautious with. It could be a bit of a problem for AVAX going forward. However, I do see the potential for another test of the slightly higher range. Let me show you why. Let me go ahead and first of all remove this yellow box off the charts and show you a potential head and shoulder inverted pattern that could basically be the area that is going to show us with a lift to the upside. So we have the left shoulder, the right shoulder, the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder, right? These three areas, let me actually use the correct tool. I don't like drawing it on there just, pointlessly. But let me go ahead and snap on the shoulders like so, the head, and then we have this shoulder here. Okay, what this means is a potential for us to see an inverted head and shoulders with a break of that neckline. So let me go ahead and snap on here a trend line. I drew the wrong thing, didn't I? Let me go ahead and draw on a trend line, not a horizontal line. If I draw the trend line on here, this will be the area that we'll look for the break, that neckline. And our target will be 1.618 times this length here, which would put us right on this target at 58.31. And I'll remove the noise off the charts so you can see. Okay, so we have this trend line coming in across here. This is the neckline of an inverted head and shoulders. If we can breach this line, the target for this will be 58.31 cent, which will be pretty decent kind of price pump from a breakout of around 31.27%. So again, like I often say, if I was to trade it, I would be trading the breakout of this up towards our target, stop loss below our trend line, keeping the stop loss reasonably tight but broad enough that we are not likely to get stopped out and be targeting out that higher range. Now, this is a daily time frame, right? That means that this particular idea would take days, potentially weeks to play out. This is one that you're going to have some balls of steel for, let's say, to hold your emotions, keep everything in check, because it won't just necessarily be a straight line up to the target range. It will take some time. Now, as I often say, if I am to be leverage-based trading, I'm going to be using proper risk management, not risking 100% of my trading bag all on one trade for 100x degen stuff, nothing like that at all, but proper risk management. 1% of your trading positions or your portfolio, for example, using proper risk management with stop loss and take profit, good risk reward ratios, all of that good stuff. And of course, if I am to be leverage based trading, I'm going to be trading on BitGet. BitGet is my go-to platform when it comes to leverage based trades. And there is a link to this in the description down below. If you do use the affiliate link in the description below to sign up to BitGet, you could be eligible for up to $30,000 in rewards and bonuses, depending on how much you deposit and trade on the platform. There are some terms and conditions that are associated with that, so do check that out on their website if you are looking at a new exchange like BitGet to get trading on. Now, there's lots of resources available on their exchange as well, so you get you up and running in no time whatsoever. So why not check it out? The link for that is in the description down below. Let's jump back to the chart here. So that's the idea, right? We have this inverted head and shoulder pattern with this potential break to the upside, targeting out that $58.31. Okay, it could be a great opportunity, but I think it's going to be potentially one of the last opportunities. Let me explain why. As I zoom out of this, we have this range that we were kind of talking about earlier on in the video, $18 to $69 to $22.79. My expectation will be that the Federal Reserve will have to lower their interest rates. They're going to have to lower their interest rates to deal with some fundamental issues at the banking sectors or the banking sector that they have in the US, specifically the regional banks. We talk about this from time to time. We talk about it a lot in our Discord server and with our members in our AMAs. And that Federal Reserve pivot or lowering their interest rates is going to cause a bit of a shockwave through the stock market. And as such, I'm expecting us to see a correction in Avalanche's AVAX token, along with the rest of the crypto market. Now, this might seem really extreme, but I don't think it's actually as extreme as people might think. Now, obviously, this is assuming that we do first push up towards $58.31. A correction of 61% gets us retesting this previous area of resistance and turn it into support. Now, let me go ahead and show you a little bit of a recap of what happened during the previous bullish market for Avalanche's AVAX token, okay, because it wasn't just clean sailing. As we can see, in 2020, we had a great run and we had this move to the downside towards December of 2020. This move to the downside during this time, when times were actually quite bullish for many altcoins, we did see a 61.25% correction. As soon as January 2021 started, we saw a great growth in towards February. But after that, when that peak of February there, we saw an initial drop of again, let me get that, snap it on there for you, 63.31%, before we rallied up and then had an additional drop in May of 2021, down 78.75%. This was all before we actually got the all-time high. Okay, but whilst the market was incredibly bullish. Now, the market has been incredibly bullish so far, and it's potentially still a little bit bullish here for Avalanche's AVAX, meaning that we can still push up towards that area of $58. But a 60% pullback, as I've shown you, isn't something that AVAX is unfamiliar with. This is actually something that has happened numerous times already during AVAX's history. And so my expectation here will be that there's going to be something that will break in the real world that will cause the Federal Reserve to lower their interest rates. Now, that could be banking, that could be some kind of black swan event that we do not know. But ultimately, when the Fed do actually lower their interest rates, it's going to spook the stock market. With the Bitcoin spot ETFs now kind of out there and functioning and people utilizing them, then that Bitcoin spot ETF being a part of the stock market, that is going to also get spooked. That means a lot of Bitcoin is going to come in and flood the market. Trying to liquidate that Bitcoin is going to cause a lot of volatility. That volatility isn't going to be isolated just to BTC. It's going to spook the entire market. And I think Avalanche's AVAX, Chainlink, and many of these other altcoins are going to have the same impact. They're going to correct. It might not happen today, it might not happen tomorrow, might not even be in the month of March, but it is something that I am very aware is highly probable, meaning that it is likely to occur in the coming months. And when it happens, it's going to take a lot of retail investors by surprise, and it's going to unfortunately get a lot of people wrecked. So I do still see some potential moves to the upside for AVAX, but I am of course telling you that in the future at some point I wouldn't be surprised, and I would expect a 60% pullback for AVAX. That's a potential problem for tomorrow or next week or next month. But for now, I think we can enjoy the potential of $58 for AVAX. Let me know what your thoughts are on all of this in the comments down below. And why don't you check out this video here where I'm going through Chainlink and giving you my thoughts and opinions on where I think Chainlink is heading next.